Here is Kostas Ήσυχος from Greece.
Good morning from Athens. This is Kostas Ήσυχος, former Minister of Defense 2015, and a great supporter of humanity, where Iran is together with humanity today, along with Palestine and so many other nations and peoples which are being they're trying to exterminate every sense of independence against neocolonialism by the United States. My very short and brief question to you, dear friend, Professor Marandi, is the following. The West, the Euro-Atlantic centers of so-called world power seem to believe that Iran will be finished. And we all know here that this is not true. But mainstream media is trying to convince us that killing the leaders and the innocent in Iran, killing many politicians, many political leaders, along with children, little girls, is perhaps a sign of winning their war. Can you please tell us briefly why the United States and its puppets from the European Union will not be able to beat this heroic people, to win this lost war from the beginning, and why Israel is heading towards something that could be described as a total loss for Israel, both strategically, geopolitically, and socially. This is my question, and I'm sure you know much better than we do here in the West why this war will not have a good end for the West, the United States, the European Union, and its few puppet allies in Latin America like Mr. Milei and others. Thank you, and all our solidarity to the Iranian people, to your government.
Yes, Marandi.
Well, I'm very grateful for his very kind words. Excuse me. And his solidarity and the solidarity of all of our brothers and sisters and comrades across the world and across Europe and North America as well. The Israeli regime obviously is the biggest loser in all this because it has been exposed for what it really is. Ever since the genocide in Gaza began, there has not been a day, an hour, a minute, a second where the Israeli regime has not exposed itself for the ethno-supremacist genocidal regime that it is. And people across the world are waking up, and they're reading history, and they're learning about the reality, and they're finding out that these people came from abroad and took the land and killed the people and expelled them. This is something that most people did not even know 2-3 years ago. So this Holocaust, this ongoing Holocaust in Gaza, and the slaughter that they're committing in Lebanon, and the project to bring about Al-Qaeda in Syria, their government in ISIS and Al-Qaeda government in Syria, and of course the war against Iran, all of these together have destroyed the sense of legitimacy that the Israeli regime tried to project across the world. With regards to Iran, I think it's clear that this illegal war, which is not the first, the United States has been involved in 3 illegal wars against Iran. It encouraged Saddam Hussein to invade Iran in the 1980s, and then it participated in the war alongside Saddam Hussein during the last months of the war. Last year, we all remember how they were negotiating with Iran, but they were secretly conspiring to attack, and they launched the second war, and then this war. The Iranian people are determined to bring an end to this cycle and to make sure that the United States can never do this again. And so they are extraordinarily steadfast. They see that the enemy is dishonest, and even senior officials in the United States, we saw one just yesterday, resign because he said Iran was no threat. He said that the United States carried out this war on behalf of Israel, and the Israeli regime lobby, the Zionist lobby. basically what we all knew. Now a Trump appointee has admitted this and resigned. So Iranians recognize that the United States is the aggressor. And contrary to the propaganda in the West, Iranian people have always been united. They've always supported their state, their constitution, their identity, contrary to Western media propaganda. Western media is controlled by the Epstein class, by the Zionists, by the oligarchs, just like Western governments are. So, and people now across the world are seeing through the propaganda. Increasingly, they don't believe them anymore. And they're rethinking their views of Iran completely. A lot of people are seeing millions of people, millions of Iranians on the streets every night under missile fire, steadfast, and asking themselves if the so-called regime, like the West likes to call it, if it is so unpopular, why are millions of people on the streets risking death to defy the United States, to support the state, to support the armed forces, and to support the leadership? So people across the world are waking up to the reality that the Iranian people have said no to the West, that they said we will resist and defy the West. And we all know, both in Iran and across the world, that Iran has two sins that are unforgivable. One, that it wants to be independent. Two, it supports the oppressed. Whether it's in Cuba or Venezuela, those who are under the boots of empire, or in Palestine, which particularly angers Western regimes.